My dad was just of that generation where it's just like, he was Clint Eastwood, and less is more. Simple grunts is how he communicated.
We always tease each other. He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, I mean, think of the ladies I can. Like, this is a horrible thing to say. And he's like, I mean, I've got a long list. And I was like, oh really? Because I just have 1 on my list.
And there's plenty anymore.
No, it's so much more of a burn. He's like, wait, who? And I was like, think of someone. Think of someone. Bob Newhart. I don't know.
But I was like just tracking him down, and then I finally got to read the script, and the script was a thriller. So that was a little confusing to me because he's like such a funny director. And so I said, what is this? Because the script is definitely like a twisting, turning, intense thriller. Is it a comedy or a thriller? And he said, yes. So then every day on set, I was like, is today a comedy or is it a thriller? And it's like, it's like really kind of over the top and campy and trashy and fun and like, kind of like my outfit, I guess. So it's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have 2 other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her. The idea that people think that they know you, I think because of how intrusive media is these days, people care so much more about your personal life than they do your work, and if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.
Internal sources have confirmed what fans never thought possible. Marvel has officially fired Ryan Reynolds from the Deadpool franchise. The reason? Allegations that he mocked Justin Baldoni and covered up lies told by his wife, Blake Lively. This shocking revelation has sent ripples through Hollywood, raising questions about how personal controversies can derail even the most beloved stars. But how did it all come to this? Let's break down the story that's left fans stunned and Marvel scrambling to protect its image. Ryan Reynolds, the face of Deadpool, was unceremoniously dropped from the franchise in what industry insiders are calling one of Marvel's most controversial decisions yet. Officially, the studio cited creative differences, but whispers behind closed doors suggest a much more complicated story. Allegedly, Reynolds' involvement in covering up Blake Lively's legal troubles and his rumored mockery of Justin Baldoni played a pivotal role in Marvel's decision. For a studio that prides itself on maintaining a squeaky clean reputation, this was a move they felt they had no choice but to make. But that wasn't the whole story. Blake Lively, once celebrated for her poise and talent, has found herself at the center of a storm. Reports claim she fabricated allegations against Justin Baldoni, her co-star in It Ends With Us, leading to a massive legal battle. The fallout from these accusations reportedly spilled over into Reynolds' professional life, with Marvel executives growing increasingly uneasy about the negative press surrounding the couple. Insiders say Blake's actions created tension not just on set, but also within Hollywood circles, casting a shadow over Ryan's otherwise stellar reputation. And what happened next would shock everyone. Justin Baldoni didn't stay silent amid the chaos. The actor-director filed a jaw-dropping $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, accusing them of defamation and civil extortion. Baldoni alleged that Blake manipulated media narratives to tarnish his reputation, while Ryan stood by and enabled her behavior. This lawsuit became a ticking time bomb for Marvel, who feared that keeping Reynolds as Deadpool could tie their brand to an unfolding legal disaster. But then came another twist. As if things couldn't get messier, rumors emerged that Reynolds had taken a jab at Baldoni through the character Nicepool in Deadpool and Wolverine. While some fans saw it as harmless humor, others interpreted it as a targeted dig at Baldoni amidst their ongoing feud. This only added fuel to the fire, with critics accusing Reynolds of using his platform to escalate personal disputes. For Marvel, this was yet another red flag signaling that their star might be too risky to keep on board. But leaked messages would soon complicate things further. A series of leaked text messages between Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni revealed a tangled web of accusations and counterclaims. In one exchange, Blake allegedly boasted about her Hollywood connections and hinted at using them to influence public perception of her feud with Baldoni. Meanwhile, Ryan appeared caught in the middle, trying to manage the fallout without fully distancing himself from his wife's actions. These leaks painted a picture of behind-the-scenes drama that left fans questioning just how much Ryan knew about Blake's alleged schemes. But fan reactions would take this controversy to another level. When news broke that Ryan Reynolds had been fired from Deadpool, fans were outraged. Social media exploded with posts defending him and criticizing Marvel for what many saw as an unfair decision. After all, Reynolds had become synonymous with Deadpool, the character he brought to life with unparalleled wit and charm. However, others argued that Marvel had no choice but to protect its brand from potential fallout tied to Blake Lively's controversies. The fan divide only highlighted how deeply this scandal had shaken Hollywood's trust in its stars, and comparisons to another infamous case soon emerged. The parallels were impossible to ignore. Blake Lively's situation began drawing comparisons to Amber Heard's infamous legal battles with Johnny Depp. Both cases involved allegations of manipulation, leaked evidence, and public backlash that threatened their careers. Just as Amber Heard became a polarizing figure in Hollywood, Blake now faces similar scrutiny as her actions are dissected by fans and critics alike. For Ryan Reynolds, this comparison only deepened concerns about how his association with Blake might affect his future projects. But Marvel wasn't taking any chances. Marvel Studios has always been protective of its image, especially when it comes to flagship characters like Deadpool. Insiders suggest that firing Ryan Reynolds was part of a broader strategy to distance the franchise from any potential scandals tied to Blake Lively or Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. With billions of dollars at stake, Marvel couldn't afford even the slightest hint of controversy tarnishing its brand, no matter how beloved Reynolds was by fans. And yet, questions about Ryan's role in all this still lingered. Reports indicate that Ryan tried to stay above the fray during Blake's legal battles, but ultimately found himself dragged into the controversy by association. Leaked messages show him expressing concern about how public perception might impact his career, while attempting to maintain a neutral stance on Blake's actions. However, for Marvel executives, even this level of involvement was too much risk for their multi-billion-dollar franchise, a decision that left fans heartbroken and confused about what really happened behind closed doors. And so ended an era. Ryan Reynolds' departure from Deadpool marks a turning point not just for the franchise, but for Hollywood as a whole. It serves as a cautionary tale about how personal controversies can derail even the most successful careers and how studios are willing to make tough decisions to protect their bottom line. For fans, it's the end of an era defined by Reynolds' razor-sharp humor and unforgettable performances as Deadpool, a loss that will be felt for years to come. The firing of Ryan Reynolds from Deadpool is more than just another Hollywood controversy. It's a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in an industry driven by public perception and high stakes. As fans grapple with the loss of their favorite anti-hero and questions swirl around Blake Lively's role in this saga, one thing is clear: no one is untouchable when it comes to protecting billion-dollar franchises from scandal. What happens next? Only time will tell, but this story is far from over.
We always tease each other. He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, I mean, think of the ladies I can.
Yeah. Does she play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of pretends to play with her. So in the beginning, our oldest is loving on her and she's very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.